Welcome back to In the Locker Room. I'm Kenny. I'm holding it down for Atlanta Sports, and I've got the crew with me, Mojo, our football breakdown specialist, and LSU super fan, and Darren, the college football guru who knows the SEC inside and out. We're bringing you raw takes, bold predictions, and everything happening on and off the field. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter to stay locked in with the show. And keep an eye out for our blog as well. So let's dive in. All right, fellas. Everybody's talking about the big names: Georgia, Michigan, Texas, Alabama. But let's be real. Every year there's chaos. There's always that one team nobody saw coming. So here's what we're doing. Each of us are going to throw in a dark horse into the ring, a team that could sneak into the CFP and shock the world. No safe picks, no backing out. So let's get it. I guess I'll kick it off just while we're here, but my dark horse, it's going to seem a little obvious, but I'm not coming from this from a fan's perspective, but I'm also coming from it from a logical perspective. My dark horse is Georgia Tech, and I've got a couple reasons for it. Brent Key's culture shift. He's definitely rebuilt the programs with toughness and accountability. Haynes King, and let's be honest, if it wasn't for Haynes King, especially last year against Georgia Tech would not have had a shot. They've always been considered the underdog in the ACC. But I think that because of that, they could sneak up on some teams and steal some wins. They also have a chip on their shoulder because of the history that they've had in the past. And they'll be like, so why not us? Why not Georgia Tech? A lot of people think that Georgia Tech is Georgia's younger brother or stepbrother or whatever, but I think the Georgia Tech is not that far behind. The only thing that would probably discourage them is either a loss to Clemson, a loss to Miami. They definitely have to beat Georgia. But I think it's very, very possible for them to, especially because of the way that the CFP has expanded. But they'll definitely need Haynes King to be healthy most of the year and to play like he did in the Georgia game probably most of the year. He's probably going to have to be in the Heisman race. Their defense is going to have to get better and be better. But the thing that has killed them in the past is the bad losses. I mean, you can't lose to teams like Duke or Wake. You have to be competitive and beat the teams that you know that you can beat. So, but I think that with their explosive offense and say, like a signature win over Clemson and or Georgia, things could be very interesting for Georgia Tech. So what do you guys think?
I think if they beat Georgia and Clemson, then I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs if they've got that caliber team, because that's about. I think things are on the upswing for Georgia Tech. I mean, they're a rival to the team I pull for, but at the same time, I like to see them healthy. I like to see good competition, and they
Yeah.
definitely brought it last year against Georgia, and that was good to see. It was a nail biter. Nobody
Yeah.
likes to lose those types of games, but somebody had to
No.
lose, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they were better. They were the better team that night, but they didn't get the win, and
Yeah.
that's probably you probably have a hard time finding somebody disagree with that.
Yeah.
But they'd probably be a really good pick for dark horse if they can bring that type of enthusiasm that they had on November the 29th, if they can bring that all
Yeah.
season long. But the problem with Georgia Tech is they always they bring it against the best,
Yeah.
but they play down to competition, which a
And
lot of teams do. A lot of
yeah,
teams do.
and that's their problem. If they can win games and don't lose stupid games like Duke and Wake Forest, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like in the SEC when you're losing to Vanderbilt. It's kind of like in losing to
I think
Vanderbilt
you have
like a couple times a year.
losing to Vanderbilt's not so bad right now.
Yeah, but
They're they're
but
bringing
just
it.
like in the past.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But Mo,
Yeah. So I like Georgia Tech, but my biggest thing about them, like I know they recently lost a receiver to Auburn. Was it Singleton? Or
yeah,
what? Yeah.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
I
Singleton.
know Haynes King coming back, and I'm sure they have a lot of seniors returning this year.
Yes, they have a lot of seniors this year. A
See, okay,
running game.
so what the big thing I like though is like the seniors returning. Like,
Hmm.
because you see it, the trend the past few years is the national champions have had kids return, like, because they had a sour taste in their mouth the
Yep.
year
Mm-hmm.
before, and they come back and they win it all. That happened
Hmm.
with Michigan in 2013, and that happened this year with Ohio State. Now,
Experience.
is
And Georgia in 21 had a team like that. I don't know how
exactly,
they won in 22, but
yeah,
in 21 they had a senior laden team with
yeah.
a lot of NFL picks.
Now am I saying Georgia Tech's the most talented? I'm
No.
not saying they are, but if you can be grimy and like just be tougher than everybody,
Yeah.
it's hard to get punched in the mouth and want to get punched again. So like if they
It's like,
can
and
be
that's who Brent
violent and
Key is.
vicious, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like if Haynes King can lead them and be violent,
Yeah.
Georgia Tech could sneak it. They could be a good dark horse.
They could. They could.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
just have to play good defense. That's
Hmm.
play good defense and just win the games that you're supposed to win. That's been their crutch in the past few years, that they just haven't been able to just consistently just win those games that they know they're supposed to win. I love Georgia Tech, but I'm also a realist too, and I'm just like, okay, your defense has to play better. You've had several defensive coordinators. We know the offense, is going to be good, but you can't be in a shootout, every single game, especially against, the Dukes and the Wake Forest and, teams like that. But so that's mine. So, Mo, as I know you're chomping at the bit for this.
Yeah.
So, all right, so who do you got?
I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I've been going back and forth in my head, and I just want to be realistic, just like you said, but I don't know if this sounds crazy to say because of who they are,
Hmm.
but I think I think Alabama is like a really good team. That's going to be a really good team this year. I know
Mm.
I'm an LSU fan, and if my dad ever heard me say that, he'd be like, what the hell? What's going on? What are you doing?" But I mean, let's
Hey,
be
it's a
real.
dark horse.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Yeah,
think Ty
never heard
Simpson.
Alabama described as a dark horse, but
I know, but like they don't have Nick Saban anymore, and people are really doubting them.
Hmm.
And
but
that happened
they have a
last year.
coach that played for the national championship before he came there.
I don't know, but Kalen, they lost what 3 or 4 games last year.
They
Yeah.
lost 4 games.
Yeah, before losing 4 games is basically a losing season for Alabama.
Yeah.
It
You know
is.
that's not good, and I think they have a lot to prove this year. This is going to be his second year there, and
Hmm.
I guess you can say he has more of his guys there.
Yeah.
And I like Ty Simpson. He's
Hmm.
been waiting his turn. He was very diligent, and he has an all-star at receiver, Ryan Williams. That
Yeah,
guy is an X factor.
he's a
I mean,
superstar.
he almost single-handedly won that Georgia game with some of his catches.
Yeah,
a lot of
now he's not 17 anymore. So
now he's
who knows what he can do as an 18-year-old.
Now he's an adult. So now there's an adult out there. So he might even be crazier.
Yeah, he could get a tattoo if he wanted to.
But I truly like Alabama, and I just feel like Alabama's defense is always going to be good. They might not be like that flashy, hard hitting team they used to be, but I think they have a culture of defense there that's really hard to break. And so Alabama is the team I think that can win it all this year, except for LSU. I don't think they beat LSU this year.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Bama is, they've always had that Nick Saban of a kind of moniker, tough, just grimy, to run the football down your throat. But now with how college football is, these days, it's more, throwing the ball through the air. You have to be able to adapt. They could surprise a lot of people too. I definitely agree that I think a lot of people are still overlooking them and doubting them because Saban's not there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe everybody's just kind of hopeful they're going to take a step back.
Yeah. I think
everybody hates a winner.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I mean, as long as Alabama continues to recruit well, and they have superstar players who just wait their turn and are willing to wait. I'm like, they're, to me, you can never count Alabama out.
Oh no.
I don't think you can. So
no.
So Darren, you're who's
my
a
dark
team?
Horse?
Okay.
I don't know that I would say I don't think they could win it all.
Yeah.
But I think they could possibly make the playoffs, and that would be Florida.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of them. My son's a fan of them, but they really do have a good coach, and they really do have DJ Lagway. He's interviews I've seen with him. He's a very likable guy. Seems very intelligent, and he is a really good player. And I think they just kind of turn in a corner. So you never know what you may see out of them. I could see them being in the playoffs, and they've got hands down the hardest schedule of anybody in the country. But it's possible they could really, if they were to win and get some momentum going, they call it Mighty Mo for a reason. Momentum is a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I almost wanted to pick Florida. But I was like, their schedule is so tough.
It is.
But again, if they
can keep their quarterback healthy, that's the thing about a mobile quarterback is them staying healthy.
Yeah,
because they take a lot of hits, and people take your head off. The way as violent as the SEC is, and a lot of conferences are. It's not just the SEC.
And it's a free shot on the quarterback as soon as they start running. It might sound rude and grimy, but if you're a quarterback and you run outside the tackle box and run past the line of scrimmage, people want to knock your head off because that's the quickest way to win the game. You take out the quarterback, they got to put a second string quarterback in.
Yeah.
You have a good chance of winning unless that second string quarterback comes and tears up. But, it's not a goal, but if it happens, it's you're not upset about it.
But if you watch quarterbacks like Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, when he gets hit, it just drives him.
Yeah.
He's like, just hit me harder.
I saw a coach talking about him, and he's like, this guy's not a quarterback. He's a wrestler. And
Wow.
Oh, of
and
course.
so
Of
That
course
makes
he
sense.
is.
Yeah.
it's like you hit that guy. He just was okay. Come on, is that the best you got? Bring it.
Come on, bring it on.
Yeah.
Well, kind of reminds me of Cam Newton. Because Cam Newton, especially when he played for Auburn, I mean, that guy wanted to be hit. That guy, you wanted to run you over. I mean, to me, that's it reminds me of who Lagaway could be if he stays healthy. Because I think he has.
I've
I
heard
think
him compared.
it's like he's very dynamic. He can make some throws. Plus when you have a good offensive line as they do, I don't. You know, I like Florida, but I don't like Florida, and I'm just. But I think that if they win some of the big games, I think that they have an opportunity, especially with as difficult as their schedule is. But it's but their offensive line is going to have to play great. Their defensive line
Yeah.
is going to have to play great, and Lagaway is going to have to play like a Heisman candidate. I think,
You
Yeah.
know,
especially with
I
I,
mean,
that schedule.
I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they went 6-6,
Mm-hmm.
or if they went 9-3. I could see them in either
Yeah,
anywhere. If they just lose 3 of those games, I think that's considered a success. I don't. It won't get them to the playoffs, but it
yeah,
would be a
not.
yeah,
success.
with their schedule, if they only lose 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, that's probably better than like anybody in the Big Ten schedule. Like if they win all their games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because those 3 games are probably going to be from the top 5. Because
yeah. But the
that's what
problem
it
with that
looks like.
though is if you start comparing things at the end of the year and you say, well, they only lost to Georgia and Texas and Miami. Say they drop those 3,
mm-hmm.
then it's like, okay, well, you won all these other games, but you didn't beat the best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
and that's a conversation me and Kenny were having. Like, we were talking about, like, if you're going to lose the game, like for instance, if they play Georgia and Texas, you can't lose both those games.
no,
right,
And if you
yeah,
lose one of those games, it's got to be like a field goal or something. You can't get
yep,
blown out in that loss,
no,
because
right,
those are 2 championship teams. Like, I mean, you got to win those games where it matters, because like you might play them again. So it's very important to win those super big games. And
yeah,
so if they can win one of those games, that's a good look. Now, I mean, it sucks, but like you can't start comparing apples and oranges. And I
mm-hmm.
no,
know, like, people in the ACC will be like, "Well, I only lost this one game and it was to Clemson."
They
Or
have,
like, I lost this one game to Ohio State and
yeah,
Penn State. I mean, like, it's the
uh-huh,
same argument, just a different day. I
yeah,
mean,
yep.
yeah,
you can't
It's
really
Indiana
do that.
last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Indiana last year.
yeah,
They played the easiest schedule in the Big Ten, and there's a lot. There's what 4 or 5 good teams like
mm-hmm.
yeah.
elite in the upper echelon of the Big Ten, but then they missed all those except for Ohio State, and they lost that game.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's like I like these takes, guys. I mean, I think very valid points, and I think I'm looking forward to see how these teams are going to play out. So you will definitely have to revisit these towards the end of the season and just kind of see just how just everything plays out. Well, that's been our kickoff countdown. So let's shift gears and head out to the lot. It's time for tailgate talk. That's our next segment, and we're going to talk about just some player stories, just to kind of begin the year, to kind of begin there's always some cool stories to kind of get you in the feels a little bit and kind of get your mind going and
Yeah,
just get your
I
heart
got a good
pumping.
one,
Okay,
and we
let's
just
see what
had
you got.
some news on it yesterday.
Okay,
Young man named Joey Aguilar
yeah,
that I'm sure people have heard of him if you're a big fan of the sport.
yeah,
But I started look. He was named yesterday. He's going to be Tennessee's starter, and they just announced that yesterday afternoon. that he won the starting job. And so I got to looking. I knew that, like, you remember it was a bunch of drama back in the spring when Nico decided he was going to leave and go to UCLA. Well, Joey Aguilar had just gone to UCLA. And so I got to looking, it's like, where all has he been? Well, you probably remember him from being at Appalachian State because, Appalachian State, they do some things, shake things up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And so they do get a little bit of attention. But this young man, it was pretty interesting to me. Coming out of high school, he had no offers at all. And he's big guy. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. So he's like Tebow size, quarterback. And but so he, in California, they have good quarterbacks in California. But he was pretty good in high school, but he didn't have any offers. And he went to City College in San Francisco. Well, that was in 2019. And then he went to Diablo Valley from 2020 to 2022, which is a little bit bigger school. And COVID canceled their whole season, so he didn't get to play at all 2020. But then he goes from there to Appalachian State. And what I like about this is, like, here's a guy with no offers, but he continues to think he can do it, and he just continues to grit and grime and go from, one little school to the next bigger school to a even bigger school, going to Appalachian State. And then winds up, he gets to go to UCLA and to get to play for Chip Kelly's there, right? And so he, that's a good coach to play for. But then as soon as Nico comes, he's like, yeah, I'm not starting ahead of this guy. But there's good luck. There's an opening at Tennessee. Well, to get to go play for Josh Heupels, if you're a quarterback, I mean, I think you want to play for a guy like him. He really has a good offense. And so he goes to Tennessee, but it's not a done deal that he gets the starting job. And then he did. And so 6 different schools he's been in, and which is crazy. That's just the modern day that we're in now.
That's crazy.
It's like, I don't pull for Tennessee, but I'm pulling for this guy. I want to, because I just like the story. And so Joey Aguilar, we got to pull for him, and all but that 1 week when they play Georgia, I hope he lays an egg. But other than that, I'm a fan. I like that. I like he's got some grit.
It's hard
for him.
It's hard not to pull for somebody like that who's just continuing to grind and continuing to want him, to make himself better. And I'm like, it's hard. It's hard not to want to cheer for. I get the Tennessee thing. I get it, but it is so hard not to wish good things for this kid.
Yeah. I mean, and him over Nico, as far as that goes, because, Nico had all the praise. He was the second coming of Christ to Tennessee and Vol Nation. And if you listen to fans, man, he was the next big thing. I mean, he was Peyton Manning reincarnated. And
I remember that. I remember that.
And then he wasn't. So
he went.
Yeah.
Well, he just had kind of a mediocre season, but luckily he had a really good run game.
Yeah. If it went for the running game, I don't
think they would have played Ohio State.
Yeah,
they would not have played Ohio State.
No,
they would not have had a chance to get embarrassed by Ohio State.
Yeah. It would have saved all those people the plans of having to plan how they was going to throw the field goal in the river.
Yeah.
In Columbus.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody
that was ridiculous. That was so ridiculous. Tennessee fans are ridiculous for that. They were not going to accomplish that.
Don't you love it though? I mean, that's what makes college football great.
It's so funny.
It makes it great.
Football, baby.
It makes it so much better that they drove up there, sat in the freezing cold, and watched their team get demolished, and then had to drive home, knowing like
without
this was
throwing the
bad.
field goal in the river.
Yeah, and walking out that stadium had to be so fun. You just see a guy wearing orange, and you just get him. You just let him have it. But that's what makes the game so
That sounds
special.
like an LSU fan talking like that, doesn't it?
Oh, here we go. Here we
I'm
go.
not gonna lie. I do it. I would do it. Like if I was at an LSU game and I saw an Alabama fan walking out after we beat him, I'm gonna let him have it. I'm gonna let him know you lost. Like, there you go. It's funny, but I
Yeah.
get it's exciting. That's the best. That's like the best part about it. People really care about the game. You lose like that, it sucks. But also, like it's all love at the end of the day. There's all
It's fun.
passion and care. So yeah. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
All right, Mo. You got a good story for us? Because I know that we were kind of talking about this afternoon. So what do you got for us?
Really I've heard his name a lot, and I was just curious, so I checked him out, and his name is Connor Wigman. He was a former quarterback for Texas A&M. He transferred to Houston. But I was just looking at his story. He was a 5-star quarterback coming out of Texas. That's a big thing. A 5-star quarterback coming out of Texas, that's like that's it's Texas. Like that's big football there. And so being a 5-star is important there. And so he chose Texas A&M, and he sat behind a guy. I can't remember the guy's name. He sat behind. Let me look it up. He actually that's crazy. He sat behind Haynes King.
Oh wow!
At Texas A&M.
Wow.
His freshman year, he got a few games in, and then the year after, the LSU transfer Max Johnson came to Texas A&M, and he had to sit behind him. So that's the second year sitting on the bench. Now in 2024, it was his time to shine. He has a few good games, they win the games they're supposed to, and then he has the game against LSU, which was really that sealed his fate for his Texas A&M career. Like he really didn't have a good first half. He was battling through injuries, and he was just trying his best. And then the coach changed him out for Marcel Reed, and Marcel Reed just took off. He was like lightning in the bottle. He was what Texas A&M needed to start winning games. And then they tried to put Wigman back, but Wigman got hurt, and it was the Marcel Reed show after that. And so then Wigman decides to transfer to Houston, and Houston's a little bit closer to home. It's about 30 minutes from where he played high school football at. So he has a second chance at playing college football again, and I'm really excited to see what he does there, because when a player goes from the top of the line, playing in the SEC, you're playing with future NFL players, just great athletes, and then you step down to a smaller school like Houston, you really get to work on your fundamentals. And I can't wait to see him this year, because I really think he's going to shine. Just like Kyle McCord, he played at Ohio State. A lot of people didn't like him for some reason. I always thought Kyle McCord was good, but he went to Syracuse and he balled out at Syracuse. So I think this is gonna be one of those examples of he stepped down in the tiers and he really showed why he was a 5-star and he's good. And I think he'll tear up the competition for Houston.
Oh, that's so great to hear, man. Both of these stories are just the perseverance of these two guys, and just because it would have been so easy for both of them to quit, with injuries, with just life happening. I mean, but I guess you're a 5-star, you're a big time college football player for a reason, and so sometimes life will throw you a curveball, and you just have to be able just to adjust. and it's just cool. It's like I am very, very interested to hear about these two guys and just what the season holds for them. Because I may not be like a huge fan, but it's very intriguing because now it's the human aspect of football. I think a lot of times we forget about the human side. You know, we're just so focused on the stats and so focused on the wins and losses. Sometimes we forget that these guys are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have a life. These guys have a mom and a dad and family, and just real emotion. And this kind of just brought me just to another level. It's like it makes me really want to keep tabs on these guys. So I appreciate you guys sharing those stories, and those guys might be something that we can kind of revisit, kind of down the line as well, just to see how they're doing. That
Yeah.
would be a cool story to see this guy from Houston, or well, who knows, the guy from Tennessee. Like if he's in the Heisman race, or
He's not
something
going to be in
great
the Heisman
happens.
race.
Well, I mean, it's it to me just you're just seeing just the positivity.
Yeah. He's been very
it
average where he's been,
yeah,
but at the same time, it's just. I guess that's the thing. Like with all the changes that's going on
yeah,
with college football, like
yeah,
I've been a fan of college football for so long,
yeah,
and one of my favorite things about it was the controversy. That
yeah,
especially like when we had the BCS and it just came down to like, I mean, you lost one game and you were pretty much out of it, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
in two games, and you're just trying to figure out which bowl you're going to, and you're not going to play for a championship. But then when they changed to the 14 playoff, I like that.
yeah,
But but you still had controversy. It's like, oh man,
yeah,
that team, they should have been in. Like I still believe now, and I guess I'll go to my grave believing that if Georgia lost by 3 points to Alabama in the SEC championship,
mm-hmm,
if Georgia had played Michigan, I think they would have beat them.
mm-hmm,
Oh yeah.
But Alabama didn't,
100%.
yeah,
and so that sort of controversy that you get to have, you don't get that in the NFL because with the big playoff,
yeah,
and now we got 12, and they're talking about 16 teams. We're losing that, and modern college football is just going so different, and with all the transfer portal and
mm-hmm,
all that type of thing, you think it's kind of like, I don't really know if you like it, and I'm glad these guys are getting paid.
mm-hmm,
I wanted this life changing money for a lot of
yeah,
guys that have never had money, and because a big percentage of them is not going to the NFL.
yeah,
So it does like let them have a shot at it.
yeah,
More people have a shot at making money, but it also gives us these stories like
yeah,
Aguilar. He's
yeah,
in the way things would have used to been. I mean, he would have been done after Appalachian State.
yeah,
That's it. But,
yeah.
but with this transfer portal, he gets to move around like I don't know what.
Yes, I guess these are the rare positives of the transfer portal. Hearing
Yeah,
stories like that, because like a lot
I'm
of
sure
times
there's
you'll
a
hear.
lot of them.
Oh, I'm
We
sure.
just get you just get frustrated as a fan
Yeah,
because you if you keep up with your recruiting, it's like, oh, we've got that 5-star defensive lineman, and the next thing you know, he goes and gets trained by Kirby Smart, and then instead of starting this year, he's moving on somewhere else because they
yeah,
offered him more money.
yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of controversy, let's move into doing our hot takes. As I know, while we were kind of planning this out, we had some interesting conversation about the hot takes. So, Mo, why don't you kick us off with your hot take for the college football season?
Well, my hot take, which I don't know if it's even really a hot take. I think Alabama will be in the SEC championship and they will beat Georgia in Athens this year.
Hmm.
I truly think Alabama is going to be the team to beat Georgia at Athens. I think I stand by this because I truly think Georgia has an Alabama problem, just like what we've seen so far. Texas has a Georgia problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's something they can shake. I just think Alabama has Georgia's number. Georgia's just going to make too many mistakes, and they're not going to be able to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Georgia's not got an Alabama problem. They got a Nick Saban problem.
Okay.
And Kellen DeBoer just kind of, I don't know, last year I was traveling and I went back and watched the game. I wasn't watching it live. I was in Utah at the time. But I think that they just really, I think they're going to figure it out against him. I don't see that continue to be a problem.
I don't know. I think Ryan Williams was torching the defense, and I didn't see anybody that Georgia added to make a big difference. Like they got rid of Humphrey. He's at Texas A&M now, but he was the guy that led up that big play. They got Bolden. I mean, I know he was a freshman last year, and so he has more experience. We'll see there, but I just see Ryan Williams torching them again.
And I think
I don't know. Georgia's got a really young team this year, so we'll see. You could be. I don't think it's going to be an Alabama problem, but it may be a problem this year.
Because I think that Alabama, their road schedule is brutal. It's one of the toughest in the SEC. You've got at Georgia, at Florida State, at Missouri, and at South Carolina, and at Auburn. To me, that's almost as tough as Florida, but I think that Bama, their talent level is so much, on a different level than Florida.
I think South Carolina will be different this year because they've lost their strength was in their defense, and they've lost that. Now I don't know how these guys coming up, if they're going to be able to be as good as what they did when they were at their best last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think South Carolina, they'll probably take a step back, and I love Shane Beamer. I'm sure he's a great coach. I love interviews with him.
Mm-hmm.
I love their quarterback. I really like that guy.
Lenore Sellers.
Lenore Sellers. Yeah, I like to hear him talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really intelligent. Plus, he's athletic. So a lot to like with him too.
That South Carolina was a team I was looking at, but like what you just said right there is another reason why I really think that as much as you want it to happen, but I truly think if they were going to do anything, it was going to be last year. Because that team they had last year was stacked. I was surprised LSU beat them, but LSU had to get lucky with the rest to beat them. I'm not going to even.
But to play there, like I hate watching South Carolina game at South Carolina.
Oh, dude, the stadium's rocking. The stadium is rocking.
Yeah, and those chickens. Oh my, the rooster. that is horrible.
Yes. That game was stressful. Hearing that freaking stupid rooster.
That was great though.
And Mississippi State with them stupid cowbells. It's like, man, I can't. I'm glad I'm not a fan of either one of those schools where I got to watch all their games.
Oh, dude, that was terrible.
Oh my gosh! All right, Darren. So I have a question for you because I know that your dark horse was Florida. Who do you think has a better shot at making the college football playoff? Alabama or Florida?
Oh, Alabama.
Okay.
Alabama.
Okay.
That's but I mean I'm not going. Like I say, I wouldn't be shocked if they went 6-6, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they are at least sniffing around the playoff and hoping some people lose on the last day. That sort of thing.
Because I wouldn't be surprised, just based on what you just said. It's possible that you could see Alabama, Florida, and Georgia all in it. I think that Florida's schedule is nuts, and Bama's is not. It's not that much easier, but their talent level and their coaching is so much on a different level. So, speaking of hot takes, Darren, who do you have for us? Because I know that you gave us Florida as your dark horse, but who's your hot take for this year, or what's your hot take for this year?
I think I'll probably. I don't know. Hot take. I'm gonna be interested to see what Texas A&M does.
Okay.
Because they were kind of like Indiana last year. They had a pretty good little schedule, and everybody was talking about how great they were, and then they played Texas and lost because they were going to go to the SEC championship game if they had just won that game. And so I'm interested to see what they're going to do this year. It's going to be it's one thing to have a one-off season, but to stretch them together, that's greatness right there. Ohio State, they're always there. Alabama, they're always there. Georgia of late, it hadn't been that way always, but at the current time, they're always there. Like you don't pick against them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But I want to see if Texas A&M can build on that momentum and continue on the path they were on.
I like Texas A&M just because I see a lot of, and especially Marcel Reed, I see a lot of what Jalen Milroe did for Alabama. That super fast scrambling quarterback that can throw the ball deep. And I know Texas A&M, they have big receivers, they always do, and so and they always have a good running back, and that's really what killed us last year against when we played Texas A&M. LSU was kicking their butt, and then as soon as that scrambling quarterback came in, and it's because LSU probably wasn't prepared for the scrambling quarterback. That's really what happened. But
how do you prepare for him though?
Yeah, he's such a hard guy to simulate and practice. You cover everybody, you do so good on the back end, but then he breaks the pocket and he has 15 yards of green space before anybody is beside him. So it's really hard to defend against that. So I think if they can play to his strengths and he can stay healthy, because he is a smaller guy. And like we were saying earlier, those mobile quarterbacks, they have a higher chance of just getting that one hit that sends them out of the game. And then you're like, well, dang, I'm out of my quarterback. So that's the big thing they got to worry about. So I like Texas A&M too. I think they're a good team.
Yeah, they are. They got a good coach, Mike Elko. He's really good.
Yeah, they seem to be always around it. They seem to be, very similar to Georgia Tech in certain aspects. Yeah,
they get talked a lot about at the beginning of every season.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you've got to win those big games. You've got to win the games you're supposed to win, especially with the environment of Texas A&M. That place is so hard to play in. They just have to take advantage of it. If they can just take advantage of their home field advantage, that's a huge thing for them, because the crowd noise is just obnoxious. The whole environment there is obnoxious, and if you can get that crowd going, good luck with any team that's trying to play in that environment. Speaking of environments that are a little different, we've got just very quickly as we wrap up here, quick takes on Farmageddon with Kansas State versus Ohio State in
Iowa State.
Yeah.
You said Ohio.
Oh, did I say Iowa State? I meant to say Iowa State in Ireland. So it's the first game of the year. Any quick takes on that one? I know it's not one that we typically would talk about a lot, but because they're not in this type of area. But
I tell you what I think about that game is notody would talk about it at all if it wasn't week 0 and everybody's just ready for football.
If it wasn't like Ireland.
Other than that, nobody's going to care about those teams, but
no,
except the people from those states, But yeah, we're all ready for football. So yeah, bring it on. Let's go to Ireland and watch a game.
Hey, I'd be fine with that. I mean, I think I read somewhere that this is the first game of both teams being ranked.
Are they ranked?
Yeah, both 22 and 17.
Okay.
Yeah, Kansas State is 22. I'm at 17. Yeah.
So they both should have to me, it should be very, very close. It's like around here, you don't really talk about with teams in the Midwest. But I guess that's why they call it a Farmageddon, because you're literally right in the middle. I don't want to say nowhere, but just for the most part, you really wouldn't say anything about them because it's Kansas State and Iowa State, and they're literally right in the middle of the United States.
And both of them being in the Big 12.
Yeah,
and we're not in Big 12 country.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you this:
football.
that's a competitive league.
Oh, there's so many people.
Yes. It is very competitive. It's very they're very close in talent, and from one week to the next. I mean, I don't know how the people who are the odds makers, they probably just flip a coin and give somebody 3 points because it's going to always be tight, and they're very competitive, and so it's they do have good football.
I will say this: I know that Kansas State has a quarterback that's returning, Avery Johnson.
Yeah,
and Avery Johnson he's kind of similar to Haynes King.
Yep.
He's
tough and grimy.
He's not the fastest, but he will lower the shoulder and get that first down if he needs to. He kind of reminds me of Riley Leonard, Leonard just being grimy and just doing anything to win. So they have that for them. So I do like Kansas State in this matchup. Just because I just know they're a hard-nosed football team. Iowa State, I don't know too much about. I just know.
I don't either. I know all them farm boys are tough, though.
Yeah.
There's difference in strong and country boy strong, and those country boy strong, and those some tough dudes out there.
Yeah. As I do know this, I did a little bit of research on it, but apparently this game is going to will come down to tempo, just like Mo said with Avery Johnson. They're going to want to turn this game into a track meet, and Iowa State is going to want to run the ball like 40 times a game, 50 times to really slow it down. I think it's going to be it's just going to be good just to have football, and it may not be the most exciting game, but the fact that it's in Ireland, it's football, it's real live football, but I think that Kansas State would probably win this one. Well, that's a wrap on this episode on In the Locker Room. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter for all the latest takes. We'll be back next week with more stories, debates, and action from the field. Until then, stay locked in. This is In the Locker Room.